Just like that. Maybe the friend of mine Friday night. Friday.
Got it. Yes, yes, I understand you.
But you know, warring with it. Friday I make a week and a half thing with them up. She already and with
Yeah.
Is all that nice is so cool.
Mana.
Yes, quick.
Mana. It's a Hoover.
I maybe I need my glasses.
Maybe.
I've cleaned it. I'm gonna look at my glasses. Thank you.
Mana. Shush. Mana. I'm not putting your TV on because I've got my religious service on. So,
Today?
yeah. Jewish one, Jewish church.
Okay. This one and this one. She might have 1 hour maybe more like yesterday.
Mm.
No, just talking and she attacked us. I just don't talk for him.
Okay.
When's your service starting?
11.
Shall I get the Hoover and done?
Yeah, if you do that first, that'd be greatly appreciated. Inhale.
This is my stuff.
Hi, Joseph is here.
Pardon?
Hi, Joseph. I know that
Oh, the Hilden.
he said he knew she ever got needs to do his rehearsal.
Hello, hello.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
Not too bad. Did you have a good break? How was the Isle of Wight?
Very nice. Very nice.
We've been there. What part did you go to?
It's called Sandown.
Yeah, Sandown, that's where we went. It's lovely, near Shanklin. And
When were you there?
I was about, how long was it? About 10 years ago, wasn't it? 10 years ago.
Oh, right.
It's good. Well, we went round Allen Bay and all that, and a few crazy goals and what have you. So it's a nice part of the
We
world.
did crazy golf. Mika helped us by throwing the ball in the water.
Was that the crazy golf on the pier?
Yeah, on Shanklin.
Oh,
No,
in
not-
Shanklin, yeah, the one, yeah.
Not on the
one
pier.
in
Yeah, the
Shanklin.
front. Yeah.
Yeah, there was also one by the chain from Allen Bay. Yeah. You're going to have to be, and if you'll be finished by the time the service is starting.
Sorry.
But she's just doing some hoovering as well, so.
I can hear.
Yeah,
Can
so
I,
that-
how's my sound, Kevin?
The sound is very good. It sounds.
La 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 la.
That's good. That's excellent. Mum, what do you think of the sound? I've got. Mother-in-law says not too bad. So, so she's a better judge. No, that's
She's-
perfect. It's not.
Good.
It's kind of not tinny or anything like that.
Good.
That just does come. That's very clear. So that's
Good.
it. Just a couple of things. I just need to know. Hang on. I'm just going to get three. What is the Torah function?
Devarim.
Yeah,
That's
it's
correct.
Is that correct? We've got it in the
That's
right
correct.
place.
And hold on. Sorry, I'm just adjusting something a second. But
Oh,
I'm just adjusting my mic.
so that's
And then I tell you what, it goes up to verse 18, up to verse 18.
1 to 18. That's fine. You obviously be flung it your way. This is just a pure opinion, nothing else. Do you think it helps when I point as you read it or not?
Yeah, I think it's a nice thing.
Yeah, okay. Probably the Hebrew, but not the English. I mean, I just
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably do a few verses at a time, like English and
Oh,
Hebrew.
right, so it's good. So it's good in this format. This different
Yeah,
format.
exactly. I think I'll do
That's
that.
perfect. So yeah, I'll
mean-
put Hebrew, but not the English.
I probably won't read that translation necessarily. I'll read my own one from the
Which
book.
is better. I
but-
quite like it when there's two different. So I can think, oh,
yeah,
well, that's
that's
your
fine.
version. And that is the Haftorah reading, yes?
I think so. Yes. That.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so we don't have to announce page numbers. If people want to know where it is, like
Yeah.
we always
I don't really
the
know.
exact page, but
Yeah.
I think this is the best way of doing it personally.
That's good.
Okay.
Is there anything else? I've got
No.
the art site list, which you
Yeah.
sent me.
Normally, I'm not bothered about it, but normally we do birthday blessings being the end of the month. It's so difficult in this environment.
All right, I'll see. And remind me, is it birthdays that have been in July or going to be in August?
Yeah, maybe sort of say, and if there is, maybe do a blessing, but obviously we can't really do the prefer kind of stuff. Can we play that one by ear?
Yeah, I can always sing happy birthday to people. That's kind of nice. It's fairly
we'll
easy.
see who it is and what the depends on the nature of the person. There's some people that don't like a fast, and there's others.
All right,
that
all
love
right.
it.
We'll
So,
see. How was it last week with the joint
fantastic,
service?
absolutely brilliant. I have to be said. Well, it's obviously from the biennial. It really worked well with the three communities.
Great.
700 people overall with the different platforms. I think the Facebook was a popular one.
Great. That's fantastic.
But I think a lot of people were just kind of not. On Zoom, there was about 50,
Right.
but there's different feeds and different platforms.
Yeah, fine.
And the guy that did it, he will be a useful resource from the High Holy Days. I think you might have been in touch with you already.
Who?
Is it Leo? I've got his name. Leo. There's a guy he orchestrated the biennial. He will be the person. He's the kind of music director for LJ.
Oh, I don't think I ought to know. But,
Mindel, his surname is.
oh, Leo Mindell. Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
So he will be, and what I'd kind of said, because I don't want to spend the whole high holy days kind of screen sharing and going from one thing to another. If it's pre-recorded, it's much better, and then just let it happen. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay, okay.
But Rachel
I'm gonna
told me not to panic.
I'm gonna have a chat with Rachel about music, high holiday music this week. She's gonna tell me like update me on their service plans.
Yeah.
So
And it's basically an LJ directive. It's nothing. We not really haven't got much say on it.
Mm.
Although there might be a few individual kind of like requests, but generally it's under their sort of. I'm still not sure about whether there's any scope for in-person practicing. It'd be nice if there is. I've spoken to Christine and she's a lot happier because she's doing her church stuff.
because of what? Sorry.
Doing some church things outdoors.
Oh, is she? Okay.
It's really good for her. I was very concerned about her because, you know, singing is her life, basically.
I know, exactly.
And she said she's now be able to do certain things, so she's not so desperate.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether. I did mention the idea of us doing things outdoors in the park as potential. Should be up for that.
Well, I'll talk to Rachel and see. I'm open to whatever's allowed. We'll see.
Yeah. Rachel's very good because she does it from. She looks at it very holistically.
Yep.
Uh,
Exactly.
And she's kind of aware of everyone's needs. She's really, really good to work with in that respect.
Exactly.
Yeah, we actually went out for a social distancing walk and we covered quite a lot of ground on various.
Oh, that's nice.
So,
I'm just gonna nip off for a minute, Kevin. I'll be back.
No problem. Just for a while, just whilst we do the hooving. Otherwise your feet will be hoovered up. You wouldn't want that, would you? You'd end up in the vacuum cleaner. Joe just did the same crazy golf as us. The Sandown Pier one, by the sounds of it. Do you remember that one?
The one with the chairlift.
Yeah. There were people applauding us or.
Oh yeah, beating it. Not beating it.
Okay, think on about it. It's only a bit of fun, didn't you? I think you're the one in the pier. That pier was quite electronic, wasn't it? It was sort of quite state of art.
Yeah. You couldn't believe how cheap this weekend was.
Yeah, I know. Four course meals, breakfast. They paid for our ferry, I think our parking.
Yeah.
I think it cost about £10. Yeah, something like that. And you kept saying wasn't get every time we had something that was good.
What's the cat?
We didn't pay for it, apart from any entertainment.
I don't think you got lunch. Got breakfast.
Oh
and
gosh,
dinner
I would have to
and
catch.
And accommodation and parking.
Yeah. There was one of these I got from the Daily Express, or the Sunday Express.
Yeah, you found it.
I thought,
Don't you? You showed it.
yeah, because you didn't believe me. I should have said
I wonder if they still do them that cheap.
I doubt not now. What I should have said,
It's still be affordable, wouldn't it?
if I didn't show you the ads, I would have said I paid a fortune for this.
Money isn't the object. It's that
Yeah.
to get good value for money, isn't it?
Yeah. I know what
No
the
matter how much you pay.
I know what the catch was.
What?
The entertainment wasn't that good, was it?
What's one guy that was quite good?
Let's go
The
next.
guitar.
Yeah, I think we eventually decided to walk out of the entertainment. I said, what was it? I think you were getting restless, so eventually we walked out. We went to an empty bar and he played the Piano Man.
Oh, right. I'm getting
And I
confused
said-
the other one.
yeah,
I mean,
that wasn't the other bar. And I
Yeah.
said to you, I'm going to request the Piano Man. He played it without
Oh, right.
listening.
Yeah.
And that was not my request, that was pure luck.
Karaoke as well.
Oh yeah, where we had that competition, that
Yeah, the person was in it and a judge.
the judge, you should go about her dead mother or her dying mother to get votes. Do you remember that?
Didn't work.
No, that was it. There's the one who did Papa's a Rolling Stone with a
And a long intro.
2-minute intro for a singing competition.
Probably in
Anyway,
didn't realise how long the intro was.
well, Tim, he did it. It's a bit like the
Yeah, it
karaoke.
doesn't tell you whoever won.
I think there's
Then go on to another round.
I think that was just the first stages, the heats.
Mika would like to say hello.
Oh, hello! Oh, hello! Oh my gosh, Mika, she's lovely. Have a look at Rose's face.
Okay.
Mika, oh, look at yours. Oh, she's gorgeous. With the headphones as well. Oh.
Yeah. Good morning, Shabbat
Good
Shalom.
morning, Shabbat Shalom.
Good morning, Shabbat Shalom.
Hello, George. Good morning to you.
Yeah, I haven't forgotten.
Oh, Shalom. So, if you've got a long leading, George, it's just the way it goes.
Yeah, it's
George,
an
we can only
enormous.
see the top of your hat, and you're
You
wearing
look like a bird. You look like a
Well,
bird egg, George. That's better.
Hold on.
lovely. Now we can see you.
Look at
Morning,
Mika in
Darren.
the background.
If you don't see me, you aren't missing much.
And we want to see as much of you as possible.
Well, we're missing everybody. It's a shame. There we are.
Alan, you
hello.
ready for this afternoon, Alan?
Are you going down to the hive again?
Yeah, again, yes.
Yeah, I'm
Socially
going-
distancing. Get
that?
it to get some peace.
Socially distancing.
Yeah, I'm going down to my friend Brian down the road. He's got BT Sport.
That's quite. He's a handy friend. You're not going to
Yeah.
join him, Janet.
Do something.
We were lucky
No,
last
way, I'm going to have some
Saturday.
peace and quiet.
Yes, that's be relief.
I probably will catch up with watching Mrs. America.
All right, at least you have.
It's Olivia watching that.
Olivia, do you watch Mrs. America? Mrs. America.
No, I've never seen it.
No, she doesn't know that one. She's soothing at the moment, but don't worry, she'll finish by the time the service starts. And you're still getting your hair done by the looks of it, Janet?
Oh, I am. Definitely. Hannah, you're muted.
Have you watched?
Hannah, you're muted, darling.
You're dead.
Go back.
You're dead to
Oh,
me, Olivia. Olivia's
Oh.
asking, have you watched You're Dead to Me
Series on Netflix.
on
I'll
Netflix?
mute myself again.
We haven't got Netflix.
They haven't got, they're in the
Oh,
dark,
right.
they're in the dark ages.
All right.
Oh, absolutely.
Haven't even got Sky Sport.
Really good series.
Kev, can you unmute Hannah?
No, because I can't, funny enough, I can't actually. She's got it, look, press that button, get Steve.
Oh, it's
there.
all right,
No,
she's
She's
unmuted.
all right, she's
Now
all
you
right.
should be able to hear me. I
Yes.
can't unmute myself just on the corner of the picture. It doesn't work. So I don't know
You're
how
looking very good, Hannah.
Sorry?
You're looking very good.
Thank you very much. You're looking pretty good yourself. It's
Yes,
nice.
no, but you've got a good profile. What I'm trying to say, you're not too close, you're not too far away.
Okay, right.
I know
I
some
just-
people, yeah.
I just wanted to say to Janet, personally, you know, I just feel terrible that I couldn't be in touch with you on the Wednesday afternoon.
Oh, the whole thing was a fiasco.
I
Oh,
I'm
God.
tried and tried.
I'm
But you
going to
had
have to.
9. You said you had at least 9 there, so it did
Yeah,
go
there
very
were 9. Yes, so it was okay eventually, but I couldn't get into the Mosaic Zoom site at all. So I had to set up my own Zoom, which worked fine, and that's what I'll do in future. So,
Right. Yes, well, it's a steep learning curve, and I'm at the lower end of the mountain at the moment.
but everybody thought of the book the same way you did. We all liked it, and we loved the description of the flora. It was just beautiful.
Well, I just thought it was a most unusual book,
Yeah.
and I really loved the atmosphere, and it was very, very clever and observant. I mean, she created very interesting characters, and I was a bit tickled at the way that everybody had to find a partner or get back to the one they already had, you know.
Oh, right.
It made me long to go to Italy.
Did you know they'd made 2 films of it?
Have they?
One was in 1935 and one was in 1991, and Joan Plowright won an Oscar for supporting actress. She was Mrs. Fisher.
I thought that was the part she would play.
Yeah.
She's a very fine actress. Yeah, very fine. Anyway, how are you, Alan?
I'm fine, thanks, Hannah. Yes, thank you.
No,
Moving.
Working yourself into a shred as usual.
Yeah, hi. And we've got the Satsis with us as well. Hello.
Yeah, hiya.
Paul's reading his comic, is he?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Oh, is that the JC?
No.
There's an obituary of Esther's father in the JC this week. Full page.
Whose father?
Our daughter-in-law in Israel, her father. He was a High Court judge and died in March.
Hello,
There's a lot of
A warm welcome to Shirley. This is the first time we've seen her.
Okay. Welcome, Shirley.
And if you unmute yourself, Shirley, we can hear you as well as see you.
Kevin, in principle, how does one unmute oneself?
There's a button, it should be at your bottom left, that says mute and unmute. Should be.
I'm going to want to move it up a little bit so I can get there.
Yeah. But Shirley, you're unmuted, so we can hear you, we can see you.
And you can see me, right?
Yeah. Oh. And it's lovely to see you, and I mean that from the heart of my
Thank you. Right.
But what I suggest, Shirley, if you move slightly back a bit, that's better.
Yeah. Let's close the curtains.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so you don't get but you're fine as you are. How's Mark doing, Shirley?
Doing fine. He had his birthday on Thursday.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think I'll tell you how old he is.
No, because then we'll guess how old you are.
She was a teenage bride.
I was actually. I was 18.
Wow, start early.
Wait a minute, I'm just going to get my reading glasses. Oh.
Yeah, I've just been welcomed by Kevin.
It's always good when you see someone log on for the first time. It shows they finally mastered it.
Have you heard how many were on the session last Saturday?
Nearly 700.
Over 700.
It was over 700.
Oh, hello, Janet. Oh, Janet, you look fine.
Thought to see her before I had to cut.
Janet, were you talking about the three rabbis? Question?
It wasn't just Zoom. It was YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, and there were over 700 people, Rachel said, which is fantastic.
From two different kind of means.
That must be a record for us. And it was well worth watching.
It was probably the best ever. It really was.
That was lovely.
Yeah. But Joseph, what's something to the fact you weren't there because you were there because it was some of your pre-recordings.
I know, I heard.
Yeah, I thought he's meant to be on holiday. Then I actually realised this was done
magic of recording
before. But it just worked really well. A lot of it they had somebody called Leo Lindell kind of behind the scenes doing all the stage managing, and that's what you actually need. Yeah. If anyone else wants to do it, I can tell them where to go. But if you have got someone who can, yes. Okay.
Kevin, what number is it today?
4.
What's the page?
4.
Oh, Joseph, what number?
Joseph will talk you through it, I'm sure.
What page?
122.
122. Thank you. 122.
And for the Torah services, we're going to do a screen share anyway, so you don't need a commission necessarily. You've got quite, George, I hope you've been rehearsing, you've well practiced. It's quite a long reading you've got. I just sort of had a look at it.
I think it's the longest haftarah I've seen anywhere.
Oh, hello.
So we'll be finished by midnight, I'm hoping.
Just about.
Yeah.
It's a lovely, typical Isaiah, bloodthirsty kind of thing.
Yeah, how guys I like. Yeah. Hello, Maureen. Welcome.
Or mute, Maureen.
Mute, yeah. This is.
I'll mute myself again for now.
Yeah. Okay. Good idea. You'll all be muted. Yeah. So, Shirley, you've been watching these on the streaming, haven't you? You've been able to follow. How have you found the services generally?
Yes, I have watched. Can you tell me what number service we're going to have?
We will tell you in due course. Joseph will be giving the service and you'll be giving page numbers, so don't panic.
Okay. Don't panic, right?
Don't panic. Hello,
Mr. Maring. Right.
Don't tell him, Pike. Yeah. Daniel, we've nearly got a minion. We can't start until we.
What is that?
Daniel.
Yeah.
Good.
Need a minion? We're liberals.
Yeah, we just about got it. Anyway, because we normally get late. We normally get this just after 11 o'clock rush. Everyone sort of wants to log on at the last possible.
Oh, my watch is gone. Oh,
we like the late surge.
No one wants to waste time, do they? Sitting here beforehand.
Yeah, exactly. I think they just want to avoid chit chat.
It's not a waste of time, Joseph. We want to see the tortoise. That's it. You see.
Absolutely. Toby should be appearing by request.
Such
Toby has a popular movement. It's called Mosaic Liberal.
You're too close to your microphone.
Yes, good point. You're too close to your microphone, Daniel.
Okay, is this better?
Yeah.
But much better.
Okay.
But well done for
I'll
having.
bear that in mind for future use.
But well done for having external microphone. You're definitely, upping the game.
Well, it comes with a headset.
It looks like a gun, actually.
Sorry?
It looked like a little gun you had when you waved it to them.
You're right, Joseph. Bring me the tortoise when you get it. I mean, we need Toby's words of wisdom.
Toby's going to be the Khatab Torah for that's our nomination.
He could be. Simhat Torah, we need Toby.
Okay.
Toby's
okay.
The only problem...
We'll carry him round.
Who cares about the Torah when we've got a tortoise?
Yeah. The problem with that is him actually parading the scrolls might be a problem. So we need to think about that.
But parading the tortoise won't be. He taught us everything.
Oh.
Okay. I think.
Listen, if you let me carry on, you'll be punished.
Oh well, that's kind of stopped the conversation.
Painful.
This is what you've been missing, those of you who haven't attended our services for a while. So I think we're almost ready to start. Traditionally start a couple of minutes past. So usual process that will be muted, but Joseph, I take it might be asking for people to join in, and then if you can unmute yourself, that would be good. But for now, I don't think we need to introduce you to our service leader, do I? I think everyone knows who you are.
No, good.
I think so.
So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm going to mute you all. Joseph will obviously unmute himself, and then if there's any volunteers, then obviously unmute yourself too. So Shabbat Shalom and enjoy.
Shabbat Shalom.
Hi. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Lovely to be back with you. I was away last week on holiday in the Isle of Wight, which was very nice. But as Kevin's already pointed out, I appeared virtually by recording, as if by magic, so as if I was never away. But I heard that was very successful, so I'm delighted to hear that. But we're back just with our intimate, friendly Hamisher Chevra for another Shabbat morning service. So from past services, I like to sing quite a lot of the service, and I also like to have lots of participation. So I'll ask for volunteers at various points because I think the more participatory, the kind of more we are all involved, and we kind of like a true community. So we are reading service number 4 Shabbat morning service number 4, and that can be found on page 122. That's page 122. As ever, we'll start with Martavu. It's traditionally a prayer for entering a synagogue, but in progressive movements it became the first song of the service. So 122.
Ma tovu ochalecha Yaakov, mishkanotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ochalecha Yaakov, mishkanotecha Yisrael. Vani barov chazdecha, Avo veitecha, eshtachave elchecha al kodshecha, ve'yiratecha, ma tovu ochalecha Yaakov, mishkanotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ochalecha Yaakov, mishkanotecha Yisrael. Adonai ahavti me'on betecha, u'mekom mishkan kavodecha. Vani eshtachave ve'ekra, efracha lifnei Adonai osi. Ma tovu ochalecha Yaakov, mishkanotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ochalecha Yaakov, mishkanotecha Yisrael. Vani tfilati lecha Adonai, et ratzon Elohim barov chazdecha aneni, be'emet ishecha. Ma tovu ochalecha Yaakov, mishkanotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ochalecha Yaakov, mishkanotecha Yisrael. So perhaps we could have a volunteer to read the passage at the foot of page 122, which is in English. Just someone raised their hand, and Maureen's raised her hand, so Kevin will unmute her. You can use the space bar often to unmute yourself. It's a very easy way, by the way, just to let you know that. Maureen's still muted. Maureen is still muted. Maureen is still muted.
Okay.
There we are. There we are.
Eternal God, we come before you surrounded by members of our community. With them we share our happiness and it becomes greater, our troubles and they become smaller. May we never be too mean to give, nor too proud to receive. For in giving and receiving we discover you and begin to understand the meaning of life. Let us not separate ourselves from the true strength of our community, the experience and wisdom of old people, the hopes of the young, and the examples of care and courage which sustain us. Give us an open mind and a generous heart to welcome those who need us and to admit your presence into our daily lives. We praise you, eternal God, sovereign of the universe, for the strength that comes to us through our community.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozeh Yisrael bigvura. Thank you, Maureen. We should revere God in all that we do, privately as well as publicly, acknowledge the truth and speak it in our hearts. And perhaps someone else could read the bottom of 123, either in English or Hebrew, your choice, bottom of 123.
Yeah, someone else, please. Yep, Shirley's offered to do that. Thank you, Shirley. Just have to unmute yourself. Or just need to unmute yourself.
Shirley, unmute yourself. There we are. Oh, that's it. Well done.
Better.
That's it.
Sovereign of all worlds, we lay our supplication before you, relying not on your merit, but on your abundant mercy. For what are we? What is our life? What is our piety? What our goodness? And what is our strength? What can we say in your presence, eternal God? And are not the magnificent of us, the mightiest of us, as nothing before you? The famous as though they had never lived, the learned as if they had no knowledge, the wise as it without understanding. For most of what we do is futile, and our life on earth is but a span. Our superiority over animals amounts so little, for all is vanity. Nevertheless, we are your people, children of your covenant, and called to your service. Therefore, it is right that we should thank and praise you, to proclaim your holiness, and daily say before you.
Thank you very much, Shirley. Thank you. And you might want to mute yourself again now. So we come to Ashrenu, and I'm going to sing a different tune to the normal one. Now, I've only ever known the inverted commas normal tune that we normally do, but I just did a bit of research, and here's a Chabad tune. I think it's probably quite a bit older, the one we do, and I like to do new tunes because I think it helps us see the words in new light, sort of stepping outside the kind of the habitual, and I think that's quite important to do that. So this is Ashrenu, different tune.
Ashrenu, 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 ma tov helkenu. Ashrenu, Ashrenu, ma tov, Ashrenu, ma tov helkenu. Ashrenu, 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 ma tov helkenu. Ashrenu, 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 ma tov helkenu. Umanayim, Umanayim goralenu, Umanayim, Naim goralenu, Umanayim, Umanayim goralenu, Umanayim, Naim goralenu. Oma yafa, 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 Yerushatenu. Oma yafa, yafa, Yerushatenu. Oma yafa, 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 Yerushatenu. Oma yafa, yafa, Yerushatenu. Umanayim, Umanayim goralenu. Umanayim, Manayim goralenu. Baruch she'amar v'chaya ha'olam, Baruch hu, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, Amhulal b'fi amo, Mushuba umfoah, Bilshon chasitav v'avadov, Bishvachot uvazimrot, Negadlecha v'namlichecha, Malkeinu yachid he'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Melech mechulal b'tishbachot. And perhaps someone could read the lovely poem on the top of page 125. Probably read it in English, I would imagine. Yep, Janet's offered to do that. Thank you, Janet. Thank you.
At dawn and dusk I seek you, reach out and look to you. With soul athirst, I yearn for you. I am a beggar at your door. The galaxies cannot contain you, yet you dwell in my inmost being. I hold your glory in my heart. My love for you exceeds my speech, so I will praise your name, Eternal One, as long as your breath of life remains within me.
Thank you, Janet. Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen ve'Amen. Baruch Adonai Elohim, Elohei Israel, Osei niflot levado. Baruch Shem kevodo Leolam, Yimla kevodo el kol haaretz. Amen ve'Amen. Nishmat kol chai, Tavarech et shimcha. Adonai Eloheinu Ruach kol basar Tefa'eh u'tramem Zichrecha malkeinu tamid Min ha'olam be'ad ha'olam God of all ages is on page 126. God of all ages, of all generations, of all creatures, to whom our praise ascends, you guide the world with constant love, your children with tender care. To you alone we give thanks. And perhaps one more person would like to read. Now we're in the second paragraph of 126. Yep. Yep.
Pat had her hand up.
Pat, go for it. Just to say, for those of you that haven't got your video on, if you want to read at any point, you just need to raise your hand using the raise hand option, and then, or post it in the chat or something like that. Thank you.
Yet our mouths should overflow with song of the sea, our tongues with exaltation as the roaring waves, and our lips with praise as heaven's wide expanse. And though our eyes shine as the sun and the moon, our arms spread forth like the wings of eagles, and our feet speed swiftly as hinds, still we could not fully thank you, eternal God, for your infinite kindness to our ancestors and to us. Therefore, the limbs you have formed in us, the spirit you have breathed into us, and the tongue you have set in our mouths, all shall unite to thank and praise, extol you and exalt you, the sovereign God. Every mouth shall thank you, every tongue bear witness to you, every knee shall bend to you, every body bow down to you, every heart shall revere you, and every fiber of our being shall sing your praise. For so it is written, all my bones shall say, who is like you, Eternal One? Therefore we extol you and proclaim your glory and praise your holy name, as it is said, praise the Eternal One, O my soul. Let all that is within me praise God's holy name.
Thank you very much, Pat. That's very well read. Thank you. So we come to the bottom of 127, Adonai Melach. We'll sing our traditional tune, which is from Mendelssohn's Elijah. Adonai Melach, Gehut lavish, lavish Adonai os hitazah, avtikon tevel baltimot, nachon kisachah me'az, me'olam atah, nasu naharot, Adonai, nasu naharot, kolam, isu naharot, tachiyam, mikolot mayim rabim, adirim, adirim, mishpeyam, adir bamarom, Adonai. תורתך נאמנו מאוד, לביתך נאווה קודש. אדוני לאורך ימים, אדוני לאורך ימים. And we're at the foot of page 135. And as I said in previous services, you're free to stand at any point where it, well, not just where it says to stand, but any point you wish to stand. But I won't be doing so because it's just very difficult to do the camera and also the piano. So it is entirely in your hands. Please feel free. 135 at the bottom. ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול והקדוש, בשמיים ובארץ, כי לך נאה אדוני אלוהינו, ואלוהי אבותינו, שיר ושבחה, הלל וזמרה, ברכות והודאות, מעתה ועד עולם, ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בשירי זמרה. Please turn to page 135 now. 135. It's the Baruch Hu, the call to prayer. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorah. Baruch Adonai HaMevorah leolam vaed. Baruch, so at the top of page 136. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzei or uverei choshek, osei shalom uverei et hakol. המאיר לארץ ולדרים עליך ברחמים, וכתובו מחדש בכל יום תמיד מעשה וראשית. מה רבו מעשיך אדוני, כולם בחוכמה עשית, מלאה הארץ קניניך. תתברך אדוני אלוהינו על שבח מעשה ידיך, ועל מורה אור שעשית, יפרוך הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצא האמורות. אהבה רבה אהבתנו אדוני אלוהינו, חמלה גדולה ואיתך עמלת עלינו. אבינו מלכנו בעבור אבותינו, שבתו בך ותלמדם חוקי חיים. כן תחננו ותלמדנו, ותן בליבנו להבין ולהשכיל, לשמוע, ללמוד ולמד, לשמור ולעשות וקיים את כל דברי תורתך באהבה. ואהבך עינינו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחל לבבנו לאהבה וליראה את שמך. הבנו וחטא לידך באהבה, ברוך אתה אדוני הבוהה בעמו ישראל באהבה. When we come to the Shema on page 137, you're tradition to close your eyes, which I'm going to do, but feel free not to do that. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מספך היום על לבביך, ושננתם לבניך, ודיברת בהם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוקבך ובקומך, וכשאתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, ובישעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות להם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. We're on page 138, and perhaps someone would like to offer to read the third paragraph of 138 until the top of 139. Who's that? Alan, Paul volunteered. I'm not sure who was first.
It was just about Paul by a split second, but Alan will get another chance.
You've got to be quick in this game.
Yeah.
Okay, Paul. So Paul, I think Paul's doing it.
Yeah.
Beautiful and true, sound, established, and enduring are these words, now and forever. True it is, Eternal One, that you are our sovereign God and Redeemer, as you were the God and Redeemer of our ancestors. You are our Maker, the rock of our salvation. We have known you always as our helper and our liberator. There is no God but you. Truly you are first and you are last. We have no Redeemer but you. You redeemed us from Egypt and freed us from the house of bondage. Then, with great joy, Moses, Miriam, and all Israel together sang to you this song.
Thank you very much, Paul. We come to Micha Mocha, the song at the sea on page 139. I'm going to sing this in a call and response tune. As this is the first time, I won't put anyone on the spot, but it's very much you can sort of sing each phrase after you hear it. So hopefully, perhaps next time we'll do it. We'll unmute one person to get them to do that. So. Micha Mocha Ba'elim Adonai Micha Mocha Neda B'Kodesh Nora Tehilot Osefele Nora Tehilot אוסף אלי שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל, גואלנו אדוני, צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל, גאל ישראל, ישראל.
Yeah, I think next time I'd like to try it with actually somebody accompanying Joseph. I think it's just as well I was muted. So, but it does work really well.
Wow, well, Kevin. Well,
I think so. Yeah, but
as you said that, why don't we try it for we can do the same tune for Adonai Sepatai Tiftak, which is coming out right now, and perhaps you'd like to have a go, Kevin.
Oh gosh. Okay, you might be sorry, but okay. Yeah, I can see Janet shaking her head, but never mind.
Well, I mean, we're all friends. It's not about performance, right? So we come to the Amida. We come to the Amidah on page 140, and we can use that same tune again. So it's Adonai Sifatai Tivsach, and then we go into
Stephen, do you want to have a go instead? Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
It's just for Janet's blood pressure. That's all I'm concerned about. It's not that.
Oh yeah, very convenient.
I'll try. Adonai.
Safatai.
Safatai.
Tivtak.
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 Ufi.
Ufi.
Yagid.
Yagid.
Tahi.
Tahi.
Lateha.
Lateha.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Well done.
My best.
Continue with the Amidah on page 140. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim B'konech HaKol B'zochech Chazdei Avot אמהות ומביא כולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באחווה מלך עוזר ומשיח ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיה מתים אתה רב להושיע משיב הרוח ומרעיד הגשם מזריח השמש ומרעיד הטל מקל חיים בחסד מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים סומק נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך מלך ממית ומחה ומשמיע ישועה ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה המתים נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום ככתוב על יד נביאך קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוא כל הארץ כבודו כבודו מלא עולם ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהי ציון לדור ודור הללויה לדור ודור לטובתו נגיד קולך ולנצח נצחים ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש לטובתו נגיד קולך ולנצח נצחים ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש בשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד כי המלך גדול כי המלך גדול הקדוש אתה לטובתו נגיד גדלך
ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Would someone like to read the passage at the foot of 142 for us, please? Perhaps Alan will do it this time.
You inspired our ancestors to hallow this day for your service. When upon its coming we pause to contemplate our life, we learn anew that we do not live by bread alone, but also by the spiritual nourishment we receive when we open ourselves to your influence. We thank you for the Sabbath day and for the opportunity it offers to enhance the quality of our lives. We thank you for its joy and for its peace. May our worship help us to take into our hearts its message of holiness and consecrate all our days by devotion to what is true, beautiful, and good.
Thank you, Alan. ישמחו במלכותך, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג. המקדש השביעי, המקדש השביעי, כולם ישמחו ויתענגו מטובך, וכשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו, וכשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו. עמדת ימין אותו קראת זכר למעשה בראשית. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ארצנו במנוחתנו, קדשנו במצוותיך, ותן חלקנו בתורתך, סבנו מטובך, ושמחנו בשועתך, ותח ליבנו, ותח ליבנו, לעובדך באמת, וכנהילנו, אדוני אלוהינו, באחווה וברצון שבת קודשך, מנוחו כל ישראל, מקדשי שמך, ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת. And we'll stay muted, but if we all read together on page 144. Eternal God, be gracious to your people Israel, and in your love accept their prayers. May our worship now and always be acceptable in your sight. Baruch atah Adonai she'otcha levadcha b'yira na'avod. We give thanks that you, Eternal One, are our God, as you were the God of our ancestors. You are the rock of our life, the power that shields us in every age. We thank and praise you for our lives, which are in your hand, for our souls, which are in your keeping, for the signs of your presence we encounter every day, and for your wondrous gifts at all times, morning, noon, and night. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, u'lecha na'eh lechodot. The bottom of 144. Sim shalom tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, amecha. Bachenu avinu avinu, kulanu echad be'or panecha, be'or panecha. Sim shalom tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, amecha. Ki ba'or panecha natan lanu, Ki ba'or panecha natan lanu, Adonai Eloheinu.
Torat b'chaim, ahavat v'chesed, tzedakah uvracha, v'rachamim v'chaim v'shalom. Sim shalom tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, amecha. V'tov be'enecha levorech, levorech et amcha Yisrael, et kol ha'amim, et kol sha'a b'shlomecha. Sim shalom tova uvracha, chen v'chesed uvrachamim, aleinu ve'et al kol Yisrael, ameha. Baruch atah Adonai, oseh hashalom. Let's take a few moments for silent prayer, and then we'll come together with Oseh Shalom in a few moments. Oseh Shalom b'mamot, Yaseh Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol bnei Adam. I always feel that for silent prayers we all ought to be unmuted somehow, because there's digital silence, which is one thing, and there's analog silence where you can hear everyone's breath and everyone's lack of silence. I think that's what I want to hear in a silent prayer. So paradoxically, I think we should unmute for silence. We are going to just do a little bit of, instead in place of a theme, of the Tish B'Av service. Tish B'Av is the 9th of Av, which falls this week, the sort of day of mourning, and there is there's not a liberal service for it. There is a Mosaic reform service for it if anyone would like to attend. But I just thought it'd be important to sort of pay some sort of notice to it. So it's on page 377. I'm gonna ask a couple of people to read, possibly two people in the same room, possibly not. So one can read the normal type and one can read the italic type. We won't do the whole of this. We'll just do a little section of it. And then we'll probably go straight to the Torah reading, omitting the rest of the Torah service. Will one or two people volunteer to read 377? Chana is one. Someone else?
Hepzibah, I know you had your hand up before and you were slightly too late. Would you like to do this one?
Yes, I'll do that with Hannah.
Okay,
great. So if Hannah reads the normal type and Hepzibah reads the italics, that would be good. So we're going to start from the second paragraph. So this is parts of the book of Echa, the book of Lamentations, which are traditionally read on Tish B'Av. So we're just going to start from the second paragraph on page 377. Thank you. Take it away, Hannah. You're muted.
Unmute yourself, please. And if we can't lip read, can you unmute yourself, please?
I think she's trying to say, can you unmute her? I think is what she's trying to say.
Right. Okay. I'm not able to do it from this.
It's not always possible.
It's not always possible. So it's, I think when everybody...
There you are, you've done it.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
On this ancient day of mourning, we think of all God's children who have suffered and perished because of the cruelty of their fellow human beings. But we think especially of the agonies inflicted on our own people, the house of Israel, ever and again from earliest until recent times. Sometimes we have forgotten, others are sealed into our memory, a wound that does not heal. We mourn 100 generations of victims and martyrs whose blood still cries out from the earth. How lonely sits the city once full of people, once great among the nations, now a widow, a princess among states, reduced to vassalage.
Bitterly she weeps in the night, tears run down her cheeks. There is none to comfort her among all her friends. All her allies have betrayed her and become her foes.
Judah, subjected to harsh oppression, has gone into exile. Living among the nations, she found no resting place. Her pursuers overtook her in the narrow passes.
Is it nothing to all you who pass by? Look and see if there is any pain like the pain that has been inflicted on me.
What can I testify for you with what compares you, O daughter of Jerusalem? To what can I liken you that I may comfort you, O innocent daughter of Zion?
For your ruin is vast as the sea. Who can heal you?
Remember, O God, what has befallen us. Look and see our degradation.
Our heritage has been turned over to strangers, our homes to aliens.
We have become orphans, fatherless. Our mothers are like widows.
Gone is the joy of our hearts. Our dancing is turned into mourning.
So it was for us at this season in the days of Babylon, and so it was again in the days of Rome. On the 9th of Av, the Judeans made another desperate sally, but were driven back by an overpowering force of the besiegers. The hour of the city's doom was about to strike, and in striking, leave an echo that would ring through the centuries to come. The besieged attempted one more furious onslaught upon their enemies. They were again defeated, and again driven back to their sheltering walls. But this time they were closely followed by the Romans, one of whom, seizing a burning firebrand, mounted upon a comrade's shoulder and flung his terrible missile through the so-called golden window of the temple. The fire blazed up. It caught the wooden beams of the sanctuary and rose in flames heavenward.
Elitzion be'areha kamo isha b'tzirecha v'chivtu lo hagur atzak alma neuraecha. And I will ask you to skip forward and we'll do a little bit of the more hopeful passage. So if you go to 380, and if you read from the section, but there is hope, which is towards the bottom of the page on 380.
But there is hope. There is hope because even in times of deepest darkness, there was courage, compassion, and decency. The human spirit was not entirely defeated, and a remnant of our people survived.
There are stars whose light reaches the earth only after they themselves have disintegrated and are no more. And there are men and women whose shining memory lights the world after they have passed from it. These lights which shine in the darkest night are those which illume for us the path.
There is hope, because powerful though the forces of evil are, the force of goodness is mightier still. There is hope because of our belief that God's purpose will, in the end, be fulfilled. There is hope because of our faith that at some future time, human beings will respond to the good within them and the God beyond them, and as partners with God, will usher in that longed-for age of love and amity, friendship and peace for us and all peoples. The optimism of the prophets, which has become the optimism of Judaism, issues from the faith in God's concern for this world. The moral law which rules history assures that ultimately the world will be changed into the better world which God's rule requires.
Thank you, both of you. I think we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much. I know it's not easy stuff to read, but you both read very, very well. Thank you. And just to say that the Haftarahs we're reading at this season reflect Tish B'Av. So the three before Tish B'Av, and when Alan today will read the very dark prophecy of Isaiah, and then we have 7 Haftarot of consolation for the weeks after.
Yeah. Can I just correct you? It's George that's definitely reading.
George, I'm so sorry. Yep.
George was panicking there.
Sorry, George. And then we have 7 Haftarot of consolation afterwards. So I do think it's important just to because we have that Haftarah cycle which we still read. You have to sort of pay attention to Tish B'Av, otherwise it doesn't quite make sense, even though it's quite a sad occasion. So we're now going to turn to the Torah service, and I think in order to not go too long, what we're going to do is go straight into the Torah reading and not worry about the sort of start of the Torah service, because that's all quite related to the physical sanctuary anyway, and I think we've established that's kind of somewhat optional in past weeks. So we're going to go straight to our Torah reading, and we're going to be reading from a new book. We're reading from the book of Devarim, of Deuteronomy. We've got there. We're 5 out of the 5th of our 5 books of Moses. It's actually one of my perhaps my favourite book. I know Genesis is popular also, but Deuteronomy really sort of pulls it all together. It was written in one period. In the reign of King Josiah, they claimed to, in inverted commas, find a book in the temple, and they probably wrote it in that period. And it's sort of, because it was written in one period, it all hangs together, and the language is much more like later versions of Hebrew, so it's simpler to read. And Deuteronomy in Greek, it means the second law, the repetition of the law. So there's a quip going around on Twitter that's saying, "I've got a joke about Deuteronomy, but you probably already heard it." It's a kind of niche academic kind of gag. So we are going to do the start of Devarim, the start of Parashat Devarim, and Kevin is going to share it. And what I'm going to do is read a few verses in English and then in Hebrew. So we're sort of going to go back and forth like that. Okay. So could sorry, I don't know if it's going to screw Kevin up. Can someone do the blessing for us, please? The Torah blessing. I don't mind who it is, but I'd love to have at least one aliyah. So it's on 482 if you need to find the text of the blessing. Just unmute yourself and someone jump in, please. Someone can do a blessing for us?
We'll do.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'chabanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. These, it's not quite exactly the same translation that Kevin is doing, I think, but not far off. These are the words that Moses addressed to all Israel on the other side of the Jordan, through the wilderness, in the Arava and near Suf, between Paran and Tophel, Lavan, Hazerot and Dizahav. It is 11 days from Horeb to Kadesh Barnea by the Mount Seirut. It was in the 40th year, on the first day of the 11th month, that Moses addressed the Israelites in accordance with the instructions that the Lord had given him for them, after he had defeated Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon, and King Og of Bashan, who dwelt at Ashtaroth and Edrei. So I'll just chant those 4 verses now in Hebrew. אלה הדברים אשר דיבר משה אל כל ישראל בעבר הירדן במדבר בערבה מול סוף בין פרן ובין תופל ולבן וחצרות ואדי זהב 11 יום מחורב דרך השעיר עד קדש בניה ויהי ב40 שנה ב12 חודש באחד לחודש דיבר משה על בני ישראל ככל אשר ציווה אדוני אותו עליהם אחרי הכותו את סיחון מלך האמורי אשר יושב בחשבון ואת אוג מלך הבשן אשר יושב באשתרות באדרעי. On the other side of the Jordan, in the land of Moab, Moses undertook to expound this teaching. He said, "The Lord our God spoke to us at Horeb, saying, 'You have stayed long enough at this mountain. Start out and make your way to the hill country of the Amorites and to all their neighbors in the Arava, the hill country, the Shephelah, the Negev, the seacoast, the land of the Canaanites, and the Lebanon, as far as the great river, the river Euphrates. See, I placed the land at your disposal. Go take possession of the land swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to assign to them and to their heirs after them.'" בעבר הירדן בארץ מואב הואיל משה באר את התורה הזאת לאמור אדוני אלוהינו דיבר אלינו בחורב לאמור רב לכם שבט בהר הזה פנו וסעו לכם ובאו האמורי ואת כל שכניו בערבה בהר ובשפלה ובנגב ובחוף הים ארץ הכנעני והלבנון עד הנהר הגדול נהר פרת ראה נתתי לפניכם את הארץ בואו ושאו את הארץ אשר נשבע אדוני לאבותיכם, לאברהם, ליצחק וליעקב, לתת להם ולזרעם אחריהם. This is verse 9 in English. Thereupon I said to you, I cannot bear the burden of you by myself. The Lord your God has multiplied you until you are today as numerous as the stars in the sky. May the Lord, the God of your fathers, increase your numbers 1,000-fold and bless you as he promised you. How can I bear unaided the trouble of you and the burden and the bickering? Pick from each of you your tribes men who are wise, discerning, and experienced, and I will appoint them as your heads. You answered me and said, what you propose to do is good. So I took your tribal leaders, wise and experienced men, and appointed them heads over you, chiefs of thousands, chiefs of hundreds, chiefs of 50s, and chiefs of 10s, and officials for your tribes. I charge your magistrates at that time as follows. Hear out, your fellow men, and decide justly between any man and fellow Israelite or stranger. You shall not be partial in judgment. Hear out low and high alike. Fear no man, for judgment is God's, and any matter that is too difficult for you, you shall bring to me, and I will hear it. Thus I instructed you at that time about the various things that you should do. So go back to verse 9 in the Hebrew, and just to flag up that there's one verse, verse 12, which starts with the word echa, how, and it's traditional to chant that verse in the cantillation for the book of Echa, which sounds different. So I'm going to do that. It's a sort of Tish B'Av custom, and there's a few other verses in the Torah which that is traditionally done. So verse 9 in the Hebrew.
ואומר עליכם בעת ההיא לאמור, לא אוכל לבדי שאת אתכם, אדוני אלוהיכם היבא אתכם. והנכם היום רוכבי השמיים לרוב, אדוני אלוהי אבותיכם יוסף עליכם, ככם 1000 פעמיים, ויברך אתכם כאשר דיבר לכם. איך אשא לבדי, תורכם ומעשיכם וריבכם. הבו להם אנשים חכמים ונבונים וידועים לשתיכם, ואשימם בראשיכם, ותענו אותו, ותאמרו, טוב הדבר שדיברת לעשות, ואקח את ראשי שבטיכם, אנשים חכמים וידועים, ואתן אותם ראשים עליכם, שרי אלפים, ושרי מאות, ושרי 50, ושרי 10, ושוטרים לשבטיכם. ואצווה את שופטיכם בעת ההיא לאמור, שמוע בין אחיכם, ושפטתם צדק בין איש ובין אחיו ובין גרו. לא תכירו פנים במשפט, כקטון כגדול תשמעון, לא תגורו מפני איש, כי המשפט לאלוהים הוא. והדבר אשר יקשה מכם, תקריבו אלי ושמעתיו, ואצווה אתכם בעת ההיא את כל הדברים אשר תעשו. And if Paul could say the blessing for after the Torah, please.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Kevin, for his expert pointing, which is a very, very useful thing that we can do online. Thank you. Okay, we are going to leave that, and we're going to go on to the Haftarah, which is the special Haftarah for the Shabbat Chazon before Tish B'Av. And normally in the liberal lectionary it gives you multiple options, but this was the only option. I think that's because liberal Judaism wants us to acknowledge this kind of this calendar. So George is going to read the Haftarah for us. Thank you, George.
Now, the Haftarah will be found in the Sonsino on page 1004 and in the JPS Tanakh on page 615. I'll be reading from Isaiah, the beginning of Isaiah, verses 1 to 27. Isaiah is probably one of the most prominent of the prophets and is highly respected not only in Judaism, but also in Christianity and in Islam. A lot of the things he said are not only relevant when he actually said it, which was about 800 years before the Common Era, but if you listen to it or read it, a lot of the comments are also very relevant to the present day. The Haftarah alternates between scolding and rewarding the people of Israel. That happens twice, but it ends very much on an uplifting note. That's in verse 27. It's quite a long Haftarah, but
blessings.
Yes, blessings. We praise you, Eternal One, our God, Sovereign of the universe. You inspired faithful prophets and took pleasure in the words they spoke in truth. We praise you, God, for the gift of Torah, your servant Moses, your people Israel, and the prophets of truth and righteousness. The prophecies of Isaiah, son of Amos, who prophesied concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the reigns of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord has spoken. I reared children and brought them up, and they rebelled against me. An ox knows its owner, an ass its master's crib. Israel does not know. My people takes no thought. Ah, sinful nation, people laden with iniquity, brood of evildoers, depraved children, they have forsaken the Lord, spurned the Holy One of Israel, turned their backs on him. Why do you seek further beatings, that you continue to offend? Every head is ailing, and every heart is sick. From head to foot, no spot is sound, all bruises and welts and festering sores. Not pressed out, not bound up, not softened with oil, your land is a waste. Your cities burned down before your eyes. The yield of your soil is consumed by strangers. A wasteland as overthrown by strangers. Fair Zion is left like a booth in a vineyard, like a hut in a cucumber field, like a city beleaguered. Had not the Lord of hosts left some survivors, we should be like Sodom, another Gomorrah. Hear the word of the Lord, you chieftains of Sodom. Give ear to our God's instruction, you folk of Gomorrah. What need have I of all your sacrifices, says the Lord? I am sated with burnt offerings of rams, and suet of fatlings, and blood of bulls, and I have no delight in lambs and he-goats, that you come to appear before me. Who asked that of you? Trample my courts no more. Bringing oblations is futile. Incense is offensive to me. New moon and Sabbaths, proclaiming of solemnities, assemblies with iniquity, I cannot abide. Your new moons and fixed seasons fill me with loathing. They have become a burden to me. I cannot endure them. And when you lift up your hands, I will turn my eyes away from you. Where you pray at length, I will not listen. Your hands are stained with crime. Wash yourselves clean. Put your evil doings away from my sight. Cease to do evil. Learn to do good. Devote yourselves to justice. Aid the wronged. Uphold the rights of the orphan. Defend the cause of the widow. Come, let us reach an understanding, says the Lord. Be your sins like crimson, they can turn snow white. Be they red as dyed wool, they can become like fleece. If then you agree and give heed, you will eat the good things of the earth. But if you refuse and disobey, you will be devoured by the sword. For it was the Lord who spoke. Alas, she has become a harlot, the faithful city. It was filled with justice, where righteousness dwelt, but now murderers. Your silver has turned to dross. Your wine is cut with water. Your rulers are rogues and cronies of thieves. Everyone avid for presents and greedy for gifts. They do not judge the case of the orphan. and the widow's cause never reaches them. Assuredly, this is a declaration of the sovereign, the Lord of hosts, the mighty one of Israel. I will get satisfaction from my foes. I will wreak vengeance on my enemies. I will turn my hand against you and smelt out your dross as with lye and remove all your slag. I will restore your magistrates as of old and your counselors as of yore. After that, you shall be called City of Righteousness, Faithful City. Zion shall be saved in the judgment, her repentant ones in the retribution. For the Torah, for the privilege of worship, for the prophets, and for the Shabbat day, which you, eternal God, have given us for holiness and rest, for honor and beauty. For all these we offer thanks. May all the living come to praise your name forever. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat.
Shikaya, well done, George. That was not an easy reading, so thank you very much. There was a lot of, there was a very tough theme to it, so thank you again. I
echo that. Thank you, George. Zion shall be redeemed by justice. That's my preferred translation of the last verse. So we're going to skip straight to the community prayers now on page 484. So I'll ask for a few traditional volunteers to read each of those. So I'll start with the prayer for the country. Oh, Stephen's got his hand up. He had it. Yep.
Eternal God, whose dominion embraces the universe, we ask your blessing for our Sovereign Lady Queen Elizabeth and all the royal family, for those who govern our country and all who influence the quality of its national life. Make them conscious of their responsibility and teach them to exercise it in accordance with your will. May we all help to fashion in this country a society that excels in freedom and justice, tolerance and compassion, so that it may be a force for righteousness and peace in the life of humanity.
Thank you, Stephen. I'll have someone to read the prayer for the community now.
I would like to do that.
Great. And if you just pause at the bottom of the page, and we'll do a prayer for healing. Yeah.
I think Stephen ought to say a prayer for Watford's survival chances tomorrow, and Barnet for their promotion as well.
Looking for a miracle.
Looking for, someone Barnet. So, okay, there was a thought of our community. Eternal God, as you blessed our ancestors in generations past, bless now this congregation, its leaders and its members, and all who enter this synagogue to meet, to study, and to pray. Comfort the sorrowing hearts among us, and heal those in anxiety or pain.
And if at this point we'd like to have any names of people who you know who are in need of healing, so I guess unmute yourselves and say them.
Jeff Wolf.
Say it again, please, Janet.
Jeff Wolf.
Thank you, Janet.
He's been in hospital since March. Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff Wolf. Maureen.
My sister-in-law, Joyce Lubert, and a good friend of mine, Alicia Lewis. They're both extremely ill.
Thank you.
And we pray for them.
Thank you, Maureen.
Daniel, did you have your hand up?
I did. My friend Mike Collins, who has just had an operation on his foot and is obviously in need of healing, therefore. And he's tickled pink to have someone put a word in for him at a synagogue. Thanks.
Anyone else?
Okay, with those people in mind and anybody else who is in need of healing who hasn't been mentioned, maybe. Sorry.
Go on. I was just going to sing. Mishaberak for them.
Okay, yeah,
Mishaberak Avotenu Avraham Yitzhak Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel Veleach Hu Yivarek V'yirape et hacholim Ana Rafana El Narafana la El Narafala El Narafana la. Pray for all those people and everyone else who is ill all around the world. Kevin, if you want to continue with the prayer for community.
Thank you, Joseph. That was very comforting. May we all find here community and friendship, renewal of purpose and hope, a deeper understanding of our heritage and sense of your abiding presence. Bless all congregations of the House of Israel throughout the world, that those who live under oppressive rule soon be freed, and may we all unite to witness to your truth and do your will.
Amen. Thank you, Kevin. One last person, the prayer for Israel. Yep, Hannah has offered to do that. Thank you.
Hannah.
Eternal God, our rock and redeemer, grant blessing to the state of Israel, created to fulfill an age-old dream and to be a haven for the oppressed. Inspire its leaders and citizens with faithfulness to the aims of its founders, to develop the land for the benefit of all its inhabitants, and to implement the prophetic ideals of liberty and justice. May they live in harmony with one another and in peace with their neighbors, and cause to come true once more the ancient vision that out of Zion shall go forth Torah and the word of God from Jerusalem.
Amen. Thank you, Hannah. And just before we go on, this is the week where we should do birthday blessings. Traditionally, does anyone have a birthday in July that or have? Rosemary, when was your birthday, Rosemary? And unmute yourself and tell us.
It was on July the 13th.
July the 13th. Happy birthday for then. Fantastic. Anybody else?
21 again, Rosemary. Yep.
Who's that?
Just Rosemary? Well, I think we should sing happy birthday to Rosemary then. Oh, no, Stephen? Stephen?
Slightly unusual, but today is our dog's Poppy's 12th birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Poppy. Okay.
Good. Happy Poppy.
Can we get Poppy in the room, please?
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay, so we'll sing happy birthday to Rosemary and Poppy. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rosemary and Poppy. Happy birthday to you. Happy returns.
I was just imagining getting Poppy under our makeshift hooper. That's been interesting. Biting the service leader's leg at the same time.
Okay, so we're sort of one eye on the time. We're going to go straight to the end of the Torah service now, which is page 489. 489.
Well, you said again.
Yeah, I don't know. There's obviously a decision being made not to include it.
Yeah, we might. כי לך טוב נתתי להם תורתי אל תעזבו עצים היא למחזיקים בה ותומכיה מאושר דרכך תהנום וכל נתיבותיך שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה עד ימינו כקדם חדש ימינו כקדם חדש ימינו כקדם. So today is Shabbat Chazon, named after Shabbat of Vision, which named after the Isaiah's vision, which George read for us so well in the Haftarah. As I said before, it's a Shabbat before Tish B'Av, which marks the destruction of both temples and many other tragedies in Jewish history. It's this Wednesday night and Thursday. I actually led this service for Mosaic for you guys last year. You really are spoiling me, giving me all these happy occasions. So last year I brought a classic Talmudic text for Tish B'Av. In fact, the only Talmudic text you're allowed to study on Tish B'Av, because if you're studying anything too fun, you might enjoy it too much. So I brought the story of where the rabbis explained that the destruction of the temple was due to a petty squabble amongst Jews, starting with the wrong person being invited to a party. We talked about the rabbinic approach of looking inward rather than hitting out when faced with a difficult or tragic events. In the interest of not repeating myself, this time I'm going to talk about a story that follows immediately afterwards in the Talmud, which is intimately linked to it. It's a pretty famous story, but I'm not sure if everyone will know it, because rabbinic texts haven't always been given that high priority in liberal and reform Judaism, particularly those connected to the temple. It's a story about Yavne. Yavne today is a town in central Israel between Tel Aviv and Ashdod, but its significance for our story is that it's where the Mishnah, the first part of the Talmud, was written, under the leadership of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, the hero of our tale. It's quite literally the cradle of rabbinic Judaism. This is one of the key foundational stories for the kind of Judaism that we still practice today. The context is the ongoing war between the Romans and the Judeans, or the Jews. I'm going to read a bit from the Talmud. The Roman authorities then sent Vespasian Caesar against the Jews. He came and laid siege to Jerusalem for 3 years. There were certain zealots among the people of Jerusalem. The sages said to them, "Let us go out and make peace with the Romans." But the zealots did not allow them to do this. The zealots said to the sages, "Let us go out and engage in battle against the Romans." But the sages said to them, "You will not be successful. It will be better for you to wait until the siege is broken." So the sages, the rabbis, as ever, are defined as cautious, trying to keep the peace, pacifist even. Talmud goes on. In order to force the residents of the city to engage in battle, the zealots arose and burned down these storehouses of wheat and barley, and there was a general famine. So the zealots are trying to stop people going out of the city, basically, and stop people surrendering or making peace with the Romans. Abba Sikara was the leader of the zealots of Jerusalem and the son of the sister of Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan sent a message to him, "Come to me in secret." He came, and Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said to him, "Until when will you do this and kill everyone through starvation?" Abba Sikara said to him, "What can I do? For if I say something to them, they will kill me." Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said to him, "Show me a method so that I will be able to leave the city, and it is possible that through this there will be some small salvation." Abba Zakkai said to him, "This is what you should do. Pretend to be sick and have everyone come and ask about your welfare, so the word will spread about your ailing condition. Afterwards, bring something putrid and place it near you, so that people will say you have died and are decomposing. And then have your students enter to bring you to burial, and let no one else come in, so the zealots will not notice that you are still light. As zealots know, a living person is lighter than a dead person." Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai did this. He was taken out. So to be clear, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai escapes Jerusalem in a coffin. He's not hiding from the Romans, but from the Jews, or the Jewish rebels. Vespasian then said to Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, "I will be going to Rome to accept my new position, and I will send someone else in my place to continue besieging the city. But before I ask something of me, I can give it to you." So the emperor of Rome says, "Give me one request," like some kind of genie. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said to him, "Give me Yavne and its sages, and do not destroy it. And spare the dynasty of Rabban Gamliel, and do not kill them, as if they were rebels." Now Rav Yosef said that he should have said to Vespasian to leave the Jews alone. And why didn't Rabbi Yochanan make that request? He maintained that Vespasian might not do that much for him, and there would not be even a small amount of salvation. Therefore he made only a modest request, in the hope that he would receive at least that much. If Rabbi Yochanan had asked for everything, he might get nothing. Better to ask for something limited that is achievable. And note what Rabbi Yochanan's priorities are. Not the temple, not the sacrificial system, not Jerusalem, not national independence. Words, scholarship, teaching, Torah. It's a great story, and it's a powerful metaphor of letting go of something important to you in order to hold on to what really matters. Recently, the prominent American Jewish writer Peter Beinart wrote a powerful and much discussed essay in which he laid out why he no longer supports the two-state solution in Israel-Palestine. He argued that it's time to move beyond the paradigm of separation to one of unity and equality, and he proposed some kind of single democratic state with equality and full rights for all. He continues to support the idea of a Jewish home in the land of Israel, but says it doesn't necessarily mean a Jewish state. It's an important piece, and I recommend it to everyone. But the reason I'm bringing it up here is because it's called Yavne, and it uses the Yavne story as its intellectual anchor. Beinart says this. He says, Jews have distinguished between form and essence at other critical junctures in our history. For roughly 1,000 years, Jewish worship meant bringing sacrifices to the temple in Jerusalem. Then, in 70 CE, with the temple about to fall, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai imagined an alternative. He asked the Roman Empire to give me Yavne and its sages. From the academies of Yavne came a new form of worship based on prayer and study. Animal sacrifice, it turned out, was not essential to being a Jew. Neither is supporting a Jewish state today. Our task in this moment is to imagine a new Jewish identity, one that no longer equates Palestinian equality with Jewish genocide, one that sees Palestinian liberation as integral to our own, and that's what Yavne means today. In the powerful conclusion to his essay, he returns to the Yavne legend to imagine a messianic future of shared mourning. When Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai asked the Roman Empire to give him Yavne, he was acknowledging that a phase of Jewish history had run its course. It was time for Jews to imagine a different path. That time has come again. Imagine a country in which at sundown on the 27th of Nisan, the beginning of Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day, Jewish and Palestinian co-presidents lower a flag in the Warsaw Ghetto Square, Yad Vashem, as an imam delivers the Islamic dua for the dead. Imagine those same leaders on the 15th of May, gathered at a restored cemetery in the village of Deir Yassin, the site of a future museum of the Nakba, which commemorates the roughly 750,000 Palestinians who fled or expelled during Israel's founding, as a rabbi recites El Malei Rachamim, our prayer for the dead. That's what Yavne can mean in our time. It's time to build it. What else might Yavne mean for us as diaspora Jews whose lives aren't necessarily focused on the land of Israel? I think it has meaning in any situation where we desperately want to hold on to something important from the past, but instead we need to go in a new direction, to go into some kind of exile to build something for the future. In our current situation in the UK, there's a rush to return to some kind of normality, to reopen almost everything, even if, as seems to be the case, that might lead to an increase in cases. The impulse is to go back to a familiar setup, the status quo ante, because it's the only way we know how to live. This is the approach of the zealots of Jerusalem. The alternative is to build something better. We've already seen the seeds of it during the crisis. It turns out the government can pay people's wages when it wants to. It turns out that the government can house the homeless, as it has done in recent months, including in Harrow. There have been mortgage holidays. There need to be rent holidays as well. There's a future in which illness and ability to work for a period doesn't need to equal poverty, if we're brave enough to demand it. On a synagogue level, the story has obvious relevance. Our community is leaving Besborough Road. It's Jerusalem, as it's left earlier Jerusalems. We're going to eventually move to a new site in Stanmore, but the point is not to treat that site as a new Jerusalem, just a new and temporary stage in our wanderings, in our exile. In lockdown, that we've found that Judaism exists in our homes, on our godless laptops and phones, in the moments we take to let that Judaism in. What matters is people, ideas, values, not the buildings that we put them in. And on a personal level, what old models are we holding on to? What outdated assumptions do we refuse to let go of? What Excel do we need to build? What's the alternative body of ideas and relationships that can carry us into the future we need? What are the zealots inside ourselves that we need to escape from? When should we ask others for something big and transformational? And when, like Rabbi Yochanan, should we ask for something small that might have more chance of being granted? What is our personal Yavne? What will give us and our children, both real and metaphorical, what we need in the future? We are all Yochanan ben Zakkai. The temple is falling. We have to decide where we are going to go, who we are taking with us, and what kind of Talmud we are going to create there. Shabbat Shalom. So, sorry if that was a bit long, but we're going to conclude our service now with our concluding section, which can be found on page 520. Page 520. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, אשר שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגור עלינו וחמליך מלכותו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ ומשב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו ככתוב בתורתו ידעת היום ודעת היום והשבות אל לבביך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. Perhaps someone would like to read Trusting in You on page 521. 521.
Can I volunteer Rosemary? Because Rosemary normally likes to read and you haven't had an opportunity yet. So sorry to put you in it, but go for it.
Trusting in you, eternal God, we hope soon to behold the glory of your might. When false gods will vanish from our hearts and idolatry cease forever. Help us perfect the world by bringing it under your unchallenged rule. When all will invoke your name, relinquish evil and turn to you alone. May all who dwell on earth come to know that to you every knee must bend and every tongue swear loyalty. Before you let them humble themselves, and to your glorious name let them give honor. Let all submit to your sovereign rule. May that time come soon and last forever. The ultimate sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you will reign in glory, as it is written, the Eternal One shall reign forever.
ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Life is finite. Like a candle, it burns, it glows, it is radiant with warmth and beauty, then it fades. Its substance is consumed, and it is no more. Yet we do not despair, for we know that we are more than a flickering flame. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and light, of death and life. As in our hearts we name our loved ones, we pray that the divine presence will comfort us and all who mourn. And this week we think of those that have yortzites. Joseph Baker, stepfather of Barbara Jacobs. Sophie Cohen, mother of Shirley Ariel. Mamie Goldberg, mother of Vivian Schreier. Anna Herman, wife of Kenneth Herman. Philip Kasher, father of Derek Kasher. Nathaniel Nash, father of Simon Nash, Adrian Vulcan, mother of George Vulcan. And are there any other names that people would like to mention before we say Kaddish for those people and everyone else?
Another names, but if you feel the need to unmute yourself to join in the Kaddish, if that gives you more strength, please do so.
Okay, so I don't hear any other names, so we'll move on to the Kaddish. And as Kevin said, if you'd like to unmute, then feel free. It doesn't matter about the timing at all, but it's up to you. Entirely up to you. Okay, so the Kaddish is on page 524. יתקדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעולמה יברח חירותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי כל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה, מברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעולמה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה בשמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל בני אדם, ואמרו אמן.
Okay, before I start the announcements, can I wish Shirley and George long life and strength and only good things. And again, good to see you, Shirley, actually visually. But it's been a while. You're looking very well. Also, it's been a difficult service. When I say difficult service, I think this is possibly one of the hardest service, and there has been some difficult readings. But thank you, Joseph, for leading it again. I didn't obviously that was pure coincidence, but I do remember now the party theme and how you put that into context. And again, you've given us hope. That's the thing about these sort of difficult themes. And strength. So, and I just loved the way at the end you related it to the national situation in Harrow, and then to our community on our journey. I think we all agree it's the most sort of uplifting service under difficult circumstances. So thank you, Joseph, and we look forward to your service next month. I can't remember when it is, but it'll be a monthly thing. Moving forward, Friday services joint with Reform. Well, I just want to share with you what we're trying to do, and we made some progress last night. We're really trying to, it's like the theme of unity, which Joseph mentioned in the sermon. We are trying to work closer with them, and we're moving to an actual joint Friday service as opposed to this is the Reform one and next week's the Liberal. Just the best or whatever is applicable from both services into one service with screen shares, which makes it easier to follow. So that's the way forward. Again, everything's work in progress, and now they're kind of again, there's a different dynamic to them now. So if you want to give a Friday night services a go, please do. And next Saturday we've got our rabbi, I can say that now, our Rabbi Rachel. And again, we're trying to work on different ideas to keep the variety going. Now with a regular rabbi, we're probably going to get some more repetitive themes, but we're Rachel very keen on keeping the variety up. So we're trying different ideas. So watch this space. I'm going to briefly touch on the High Holy Days. I haven't got any further updates, but all I can say, there is a lot of work going on with LJ behind the scenes. I'll getting something together, but we have to, under the circumstances, we're literally rewriting the prayer book, and you will be getting more details in due course. On a lighter note, I believe tomorrow there's a quiz at 4 p.m. John Ashmole's doing it. I have actually attended one. They are very challenging. So if you want a nice relaxing quiz, you're not going to get that. But if you want sort of the grey matter being tested, then recommend it. It is on the newsletter. The link to that quiz is there. And again, good luck to those who are to be supporting their football teams this weekend, and hope for good results. I think Watford haven't got a prayer, but anyway, we've done our best for them today. Alan, have you got anything? Alan, Hannah, anybody else? Any announcements?
You haven't mentioned the cricket.
Oh yeah, and the cricket. Sorry.
Oh, the cricket. You've got to talk about the cricket.
Yeah, maybe some later. One good
Very
thing.
important.
Yeah, very important. Yeah, good luck for England in the cricket as well. Okay, anything perhaps on the non-sporting level?
Can I just ask Joseph or Kevin, one of the upsides mentioned was the wife, I got this right, of Kenneth Herman. Am I right? I think you
Yes,
mentioned,
Anna Herman, wife of Kenneth Herman, yes.
What was her name? If you had it there?
Anna.
The wife's
Anna.
Thank you. Sorry, Hannah with an H or
No, with an A.
Anna with an A.
Anna with an A.
No, just that Kenneth Herman lives down in the wilds of Somerset. I've been in touch with him over the years on one or two things, so I thought I would just drop him an email to say that his wife's name was mentioned at the service this morning. Thank you. All right.
Okay, Joseph, so what are we going to end up with?
Yeah, we'll end up with Adon 525. We'll do it to the Whaley Whaley melody. Adon Olam Hashem Allah בטרם כל יציר נברא ואת נפשו בחפצו אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה ותפארה והוא אחד ואין שני להמשילה להחמירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמצווה והוא אלי וחי גולי וצוחב לי בעת צרה והוא איסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא ויעדו אף כרוחי בעת אישון ואירה באם רוחי גביעתי Adonai V'lo ira.
Oh, that was good.
Yehi Adonai Eloheinu imach ka'asher haya im avotenu al ya'azvenu v'al yitshenu l'hatot lavavenu elav lalechet b'chol derachav. Eternal God, be with us as you were with our ancestors. Never leave us or forsake us. Incline our hearts towards you and lead us in your ways. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom. You feel free to unmute yourselves for Kiddush. Well done. I can see Hannah applauding. I have been looking round and looking at people's faces. They're absolutely engaged. One good thing about Zoom, if you switch off during the service, you're going to be noticed. So,
good or bad.
I trust that she's engaged. But you really did. It was a kind of captive audience. Yeah, and normally when somebody sings during I immediately mute them. But Shirley, you accompanied Joseph really well there.
Oh.
We went in time, but it was still it was still nice.
Well, normally it was. Yeah, I thought it was good.
You weren't supposed to hear.
We did.
It was okay, Shirley.
But it was okay. But this is where Kiddush, everyone wants to get their wine glasses.
If you've got a glass, grab it now.
I have
I'll do it because we're late, and the people downstairs might get annoyed.
I've got a cup.
Get a bottle of wine and a straw, Shirley.
I haven't got any wine.
If someone's got a cup and wants to lead it, then they can. I don't mind.
I've got a cup.
Yeah.
It's a Leo cup. It's my birthday year.
I've got a mug.
Stephen, do you want to do the Shamru, or do you want me to do it?
If you like.
Go on then.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורתם ולתורם, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, וגשמים חסר אדוני, את הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי
Amen.
L'chaim. Whatever you're drinking, L'chaim. Stephen, have you got a challah?
Well, anyone got a challah?
I know Stephen normally has. Anyone else got a challah?
I haven't got a challah if you've got a challah.
Like to lead a motzi for us?
Do you want me to do it or someone else?
Yeah, just do it, Steve. Just do it.
Go for it, Steve.
המוציא לחם מן האורץ.
Amen.
Paul made it just in time.
You can hold your challah up, Paul. Show us your challah.
So where does everyone get their collars these days?
Sharon's in Edgware.
Oh yeah, Sharon's.
Very good.
And is there anywhere in Hatchend where you can get a decent collar? I know that we've had problems before from Hatchend people getting their collars.
Oh, no problem. We got Pinner Green, Noshers.
Oh.
Noshers at Pinner Green.
Noshers at Pinner Green.
Oh, here we go. There's the top.
Oh.
Joseph, it was a lovely service. Very thoughtful.
Yes, I really enjoyed it. Really.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's unanimous there.
Yeah, definitely. It was a wonderful service.
And I have to say again, George, that was a difficult reading. Because it's quite wordy, and it's good that you did your research. You did agree to it before I told you what the reading was. That was deliberate.
Yeah. Hi, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Enjoy your afternoon, whatever you're doing.
Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you.
And hello, Lena. How are you, Lena, down there?
He's gone anyway, I think.
Bye.
Yeah. Thank you. It's lovely to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you,
Hello,
Kevin,
Vera.
as
Sorry, I
well.
haven't ignored you there, Vera, but you're okay.
I've opened my mouth.
Yeah, I was wondering. Which is,
I'll never
like,
read. I'll never read, but I enjoy the service.
Yeah, that's fine. We deliberately don't volunteer you. We know that you prefer to be a student of pew.
Can't read.
I think you can, but not maybe sometimes reading in public under these kind of.
Never.
You've done it before. Not for your anniversary. I remember your anniversary service, but were you forced into it, kind of?
I can ad lib, but I can't read.
Okay. Okay. Bye, Stephen. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Mary. Wish you long
Shabbat
life.
shalom, everybody.
Right, I'm going to leave now. Let's leave.
That's it. Everyone's gone. Thank you again. Oh, he's gone.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin.
Hopefully,
and
Shirley,
Joseph.
We'll see
Where
you
is it? It's
again
gone.
soon, Shirley. You can't leave. The door's locked. I'm going to end the service now. All the
Leave
best.
the meeting. Yes, that's it.
Bye, everybody.